let me ask you a question, because I tweeted about this a little while back. When you look at music of any genre, everyone's best work always happens in their 20s and 30s. Right. Yes, in their 40s and 50s, artists continue to drop albums. You know, like Eminem just dropped a new album and went #1 and sold a bunch of copies, but no one's going to say, oh, that's better than the Marshall Mathers LP, right, or better than his first album. They'll say, oh, this was good, right, for its time. Do you feel that the same holds when it comes to comedy?
In certain aspects, yes.
Has there ever been a comic that hit their height in their 40s or 50s? Their best work, their best stand-ups happened in their 40s and 50s. Anyone? Because Dave Chappelle's still doing his thing, but I don't think it touches Killing Me Softly.
Well, hold on. I disagree. Killing Him Softly is hands down, undoubtedly, a banger. Yes. Equanimity is incredible.
Okay.
I love Equanimity. It's right there to me with Killing Him Softly. What's the one? Not Sticks and Stones. The one. What was it called? The one where he did all the transgender material. The whole hour was
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
It's not Sticks and Stones, but I forget the name of it. That to me is up there with Equanimity and Killing Him Softly too, because to be able to come out and do a whole hour on one subject, and an explosive subject, a polarizing subject, such as transgenders, and do that the way he did it was so brilliant. It was so beautiful. How he, from beginning to end, how he told the story about his transgender friend Daphne, about her suicide. To be able to take something so dangerous and comedically chill that the way he did, to be as poignant and as brilliant and as intelligent. Come on, man. Yeah, Dave's a master. That's why he's the master.
So you would put...
But to answer your question...
Yes.
Yo, you do your best work in your youth because you're hungry. You got vigor. You got... The passion is there. And when you're hungry... There's a great saying in boxing where they go, it's hard to be hungry when you're sleeping in silk sheets. And when you got money and fame and you've accomplished everything you want to accomplish, that hunger level is just not the same.
See, I guess what I don't fully understand is, like, in my 50s, I feel I'm a way better interviewer than my 40s and 30s. Because it's a trade and it's a skill and I've gotten better at it and I figured out how to maneuver and everything else like that. You do get better the longer you do something.
But you're sitting down and talking.
Yeah.
That's not the same as running up and down a court or on a field.
No, I'm not talking about sports.
No, but even in comedy.
I'm talking about comedy and music.
The
comedy and music.
Comedy and
the
music.
Arts.
The grind. There's a grind that comes with comedy and music. Road, flights, buses, hotels, different atmospheres, change of weather, not sleeping at home in your own bed, dealing with people you don't want to deal with, the fans. All of that takes a toll on you mentally and physically. When you're sitting in a room in one place that you can drive from your house to in 20 minutes and sit down and have an interview, that doesn't take the same kind of toll on you that being a performer does.
True.
Traveling on the road. You know, I remember when Bill Burr said, dude, everybody in their 20s is a rock star. When you're in your 20s, your skin, your youth, your face, your energy, everybody's fuckable, even if you're ugly. You get 40, you can still be sexy, but you're just not as pristine.
But hasn't Bill Burr kind of hit a stride? And he's, what, in his 40s or 50s at this point?
Yeah.
That he really didn't hit when he was younger?
Yeah, and listen, there are comics who are great thinkers. Huh. And when you're a great thinker...
George Carlin.
Yeah. When you're a great thinker, that ages well like wine. You know what I'm saying? The mind, the physicality of performing may take its toll on you, but the mind becomes the most powerful asset you have through that experience, through becoming older. You know, Carrot Top's probably done. He's not a thinker. It's all about the props. Yeah. You know, one thing that bothered me, especially in the actual thing, and I saw Eddie Murphy say in an interview, you know, he doesn't do his laugh anymore, his signature laugh. He changed it. And he said he abandoned it because he didn't want people to associate him with just being a laugh, which was a head scratcher to me because I'm going, dude, your body of work is so extensive and incredible and respected and admired. Who's associating you with just a laugh? When I think of the classic Eddie Murphy movies, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, 1 and 2, Boomerang, Coming to America, even Another 48 Hours, which I love.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at those movies going, oh, it's just a laugh. I'm remembering scenes. I'm remembering dialogue. I'm remembering moments that I go to this day classic. When I think about Beverly Hills Cop 2 and he does the scene in the pool, well, I love it when you talk dirty to me. Come get your mad ass to this pool with me. One of the funniest moments. I'm not thinking about the laugh, but because he took it away, there's a moment in Axel F where he's alone in the car with Gordon Levitt Hewitt, and there's a pause moment, and Eddie does his new laugh, which was perfect because there was a moment of silence. So instead of giving us what we know, he does the new laugh. How distracting is that? Why would you do that? Nigga, you changing the formula to Coke.
Well, here's what's interesting. I actually looked it up while we were talking. Bill Cosby's biggest stand-up, which is Bill Cosby himself.
Yeah.
He was 46 years old.
Great thinker. Great storyteller.
And it's not like he was brand new in comedy. He
Right.
had been doing stand-up. He had been
Right.
doing movies. The Cosby Show wasn't out yet, but he was a very established movie star and stand-up comedian by that time. But it wasn't until
Well, he
46.
was never a movie star. No, Bill Cosby was never a movie star.
Uptown Saturday Night and all those movies.
Those movies, those tandem movies with him and Sidney Poitier, there was 3 of them. Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, and A Piece of the Action.
Right.
Okay, that was a tandem movie. When he went out on his own, nobody talked about Leonard Six.
Okay, fair enough.
He was
Fair
never
enough.
a movie star.
Okay, but he
That's
did do movies.
He did 3 movies with one of the greatest co-stars in cinematic history,
Okay.
Sidney Poitier.
You're right, I'll give you
so
that.
that worked.
I'll give you that. But he was a very established.
And he made them at a time where I debated this on my podcast with my podcast partner. Are those black exploitation movies? Not really, because those movies were produced by Warner Brothers. Big budgets, great production, whereas most black exploitation movies, low budgets. You could tell the quality of the film wasn't great.
Yeah.
The writing wasn't particularly great. So even when Bill Cosby did those 3 movies with Sidney, they were major studio films, big production. Again, Sidney Poitier, Oscar winner, one of the most well-respected, greatest acting thespians of all time.
Yeah, he carried it. is what
He
you're saying.
carried it.
Okay,
So when
fair
you
enough.
take him out of that,
Okay.
no.
Fair enough. But Bill Cosby was a very established comedian,
Yes.
both stand-up and he would put out albums.
Right.
And it wasn't until 1983, 46 years old, that he did Bill Cosby himself, which was considered one of the greatest stand-ups ever, definitely his greatest stand-up. And that in turn, I think, led to The Cosby Show, which became one of the biggest TV shows ever. So he actually got into his stride in his 40s and 50s.
Listen, man, comedy. It doesn't have to be, but comedy is intellectual. You know, it's a thinking man's game. You know, we talk with our mouthpiece, but before we can speak it, we got to think it. And when we connect the two, that's where the brilliance comes from. And the brilliance in comedy is, there's different aspects of comedy. You don't have to be a thinker and a talker like Carrot Top. Be a props guy. You don't have to be. You could be. I forget what my man's name is, but he's one of the most successful comics who does puppets. I forget what his name is, but he's huge.
You got Gallagher.
You got Gallagher.
Who like basically has hammers and watermelons on stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you could be political like Louis Black or Bill Maher. Bill Maher. But even that is the antithesis of thinking. So, you know, yeah, man, if you can you can have longevity in this as long as you don't, turn into Joe Biden.